What you guys, got another video here for you on how to create a custom Windows 11 ISO. This also works for Windows 10, but we're working on Windows 11 here. So first off, we're going to open up UUP dump. Now you can download this version of Windows from Microsoft themselves, but I'm going to use this to download my ISO. So you choose which way you want to download your ISO and which way you want to go about doing it. This particular video is going to be quite a long video, so be patient and watch all the video and don't skip through, otherwise you'll miss some crucial steps here. So what we're going to do is choose your language for this particular ISO that we want to use, and in this case mine's going to be English, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that as English United States. I don't need Windows Home, but if you do, you can leave Windows Home checkmarked here. I'm just going to be using Windows Pro, so I'm going to leave that checkmarked here. So make sure you select which one that you have a Windows license key for. Now we're going to be downloading and converting to ISO. I'm going to leave these check marked here on the bottom, and I might even integrate the network 3.5 framework here for our build, and that way we don't have to download and install this after the fact. So I'm going to leave that check mark there. You can leave it unchecked if you wish, but that's what I'm going for here. Now we're going to create our download package. We can now navigate to our download section, and we can now extract all of this information from its folder. So let's go extract all and extract that into its own folder here. And now what we need to do here is we need to click on this batch file here where it says UUP_download, and we're going to run this anyway. And a little prompt box will pop up here, and all you need to do here is put R, and this will start downloading our Windows package. And again, this will take a bit of time, so be patient, and it's going to download this from the Microsoft website, and it's going to then build our package for us. And this will give us our ISO that we need. So I'll speed this process up and move on to the next step, and we can show you what we're going to need next. So MSMG Toolkit is something I'm going to use here. I'm going to extract all, and we're going to extract that into a folder. I can then drag this onto my desktop. So let me just quickly close that off and drag the Toolkit folder to my desktop where I'm working. Again, you can use different methods for doing this, but this is the method I'm choosing. Choose 0 to close out the command prompt once it's downloaded. And now we can mount the ISO from our UUP dump that we just created. And what we're going to do is grab all of the files inside that ISO that we just downloaded and drag them into the DVD folder of our Toolkit, just like so. You can copy and paste it or drag them whatever way suits you. And once this is copied over, we're ready to open up our MSMG Toolkit. So that's now copied over. We can now open this up, but before I do that, let me just eject the ISO. And what I've done here is now going to go into our Toolkit folder. And you can see our ISO has been copied into our DVD folder. And what we need to do now is click on this start button here. I'm going to right click and run this as administrator. And you will see a little prompt box popping up here. I'm going to say run anyway and say yes to continue. You will see a blue prompt box like this. Accept their terms and conditions by typing A. And now push any key on the keyboard to move on to the next step. So let's go ahead and do that. Now you should see something like this. What we need to do here is select source by typing 1, and we're going to select the source. From here, we're going to select our source from our DVD folder. So type 1 again, because that is where we've just extracted all our files to for our Windows build. So let's go ahead and do that. And you can see there is only one index here, and that's Windows 11 Pro, because I used UUP dump. Now, if you've used Microsoft, you will see a selection here, and you can choose which one you want, but I'm going to select one because that's the only one I've got. It's going to ask us, do we want to, it's going to say, do you want to continue? I'm going to say Y for yes, and then it's going to say, do you want to mount Windows Setup Boot Image? I'm going to say no here. I'm going to put N for no and press enter. And it's going to say, do you want to mount the Windows Recovery Image? And we don't want to do that either. So we're going to say no here by typing N for no and push enter. Okay, so now we're ready to start working with our image and start to remove bits we don't need. So let's go ahead. It's going to mount this for us. Once that's finished mounting, it will kick you back to the main menu. So from here, we can now start to remove components. So let's go ahead and type 3 here to go into the remove section to start removing key components. Next, we're going to type 1 here to remove Windows components. So let's go ahead and push 1, and this will take us into the next window. And we can then have another couple of options which select Windows components. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 again and move into this section here. So now we have a long list. You'll see Internet. So let's go into there, and you can see these have got little stars against them. So I'm not going to remove any of this stuff here because this can cause issues. Sometimes people used to remove Internet Explorer, but I'm going to leave these as is and not touch these on here. But there is little stars here, and I think it stops you from moving them. So let's go back to the main menu and look at multimedia. So let's push 2 here, and you can see there's a big massive list of stuff. Now, what do you remove? Well, this is going to be entirely up to you. But I'm going to go through and remove some of the stuff that I don't want on the system. But again, everyone's going to have their own different requirements. So this is why it's more difficult to release a ISO image for someone else, because they may need those components and you've just removed them. So it's always best to do your own ISO. So let me go ahead and take a look through here, and we can have a look at what we want to remove. So I can already see screensaver, and I can already see some other stuff that I don't need here. For instance, like the Windows Media Player Legacy or Windows Photo Viewer, if you don't need that, or any of the other stuff you can remove. So I'm going to type 4 for screensaver and remove it. You'll see there'll be a little dash there now instead of a plus, and that means we want to remove this from our build. Now, sometimes removing too much can break the operating system, so be very careful what you remove. So I'm going to remove the speech recognition here because I don't need that. And I'm also going to remove number 8, which is our wallpaper themes, because I'm not too interested in those either. So I'm going to remove those selection right there. And I'm probably going to remove a couple of more items like Windows Media Player Legacy, because we can always use another one off of the internet. So let's go ahead and type in that number right there, which is number 9, and we can then push enter to remove it. There we go. And it goes without saying, if you need that, then don't remove it. So what I'm going to do here is remove the Windows TIFF, and we're going to remove the OCR there. You can see that right there, number 12. So I'm going to remove that from our build as well. So let's go ahead and type that in and push enter, and that's now removed. Okay, so I think we're pretty good there now. So what we can do is we can go back, and we can push the X key to go back, and this will bring us back to the main menu, as you see here. Now we push number 2 to take it into multimedia, and again you do the same thing. You're going to go through here and remove stuff that you don't need, and everyone's going to need different things. So I'm going to remove Windows Mail because I don't need it. That's number 9, and we got the wallet service here, which I don't need, so that's number 8. I'm going to remove that as well. And Telnet is on there. I don't need Telnet on this system, so I can push number 6 to remove that as well. So depending on what you want to remove on your system will determine on which numbers you select. So be very careful on what you remove, but we definitely know we don't need any of this stuff to run our system. And also we can see here this one here, which is TFT P client, and we can probably remove that as well because we don't need that. So let's remove that, number 7, and there we go. That's what I'm going to remove on my selection right here. And all you need to do is push X to go back once you're finished, and we can now go into the next one, which is network. So push number 3. Now I can already see a few things I can remove here. So number 2, customer experience improvement program. So I will definitely be removing that by typing number 2. And there is some other things on here which we can remove as well. So let's go ahead and look. Number 6, picture password. We can remove that one as well. And we also have some other ones on here which we can remove. So just move which ones you want to go. Number 9, Wi-Fi network adapter Wi-Fi sense. That can go. Number 10. And that is our Windows error reporting. We can remove that. The Windows Insider program, we don't need that by typing number 11. Let's get rid of that. And you can see they are starting to put little dashes against them, which means it's going to be removed. Number 6, that's your picture password. So let's remove that as well. I'm going to leave the pin sign in support. You can also see here Unified Telemetry Client there as well, which is number 8. There's a few of them on here which you can remove, depending on which ones you want to remove. So number 5 is the location service. We're going to remove that as well. And we'll probably remove that face recognition, Windows Hello Face. We'll remove that as well. And we got some other ones on there if you wanted to remove them. So I'm going to leave that as is and push X to go back here. And again, we're going to go on to the next selection here, which is privacy. So let's go into number 4. And from here, we can remove some other components. For instance, I can see OneDrive desktop client. I can also see remote registry. And I can also see some other stuff here. So depending on what you want to remove, I'm going to remove the remote assistant. And I'm also going to remove the OneDrive desktop client as well. Let's get rid of that as well. And we can also remove number 2, which is the multi-point connector. So let's go ahead and remove that. And maybe we can also remove number 7, which is your work folders client. We can remove that as well. So let's go ahead and do number 7 and push enter. And now we can push X to go back and go back to the main menu. And then we can move on to the next selection here. So let's go for number 6 now. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go through. There's quite a few of these to go through here. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these one by one. What I'll do is I'll start disabling these, like narrator and also some other ones inside here. And we can remove a lot of this, like steps recorder. You can see storage sense here, file history, easy transfer. There's a bunch of stuff on here which you can go about removing. So I'm not going to go through all of this. I'm going to start check marking some of these and I'll show you the end result of what I've actually removed here because we'll be here all day. So I've got a few more here. We can do number 23 and you can see these ones with all the little dashes against them. They're the ones that we are going to be removing. And there's quite a few of them like on-screen keyboard. And we've got a few others on here like Windows Backup, magnifier, and a bunch of other ones like file history and stuff like that. So you can go through here and choose what you want to choose for your removal. So pause the video and take a good look at the ones I've removed here and you can write those down. So let's go ahead and move on to the next selection here and we'll go here and there's quite a few here. There's about 40 odd here. So again, I'm not going to go through these one at a time. What I'll do is I will remove a lot of these and I'll show you what I've removed because it's quite a lot. So you can see here, there's the ones with the little dashes on them. They're the ones that you need to remove. You can slow the video down as well. Remember guys, in the settings to slow the video down and take a look at the ones I've removed. You can mark them down and write them on a piece of paper and then you should be able to remove those ones. So they're the ones I went for to remove because there's quite a few of them here, over 40 odd here. So we'll be there for a very long time removing those. 28 could be removed. Also 29 could possibly be removed there if you wanted to remove those. There's a few other ones on here that you might want to check mark. But just go through here. I've left Xbox on here. I've not touched any of the Xbox stuff on this particular build. So let's move on to the next one. And this one's going to be quite a big one as well because there's quite a few. So you can see there's like 70 odd on here. So we need to remove a lot of these. And again, I'm not going to go through all of these one by one because we will be here for a very long time. So I'm just going to go here and start to remove them. And it's a bit of a pain because you have to keep going up and down on the actual list here because the list is so big. Maybe they should have put this onto separate pages so you can go page 1, page 2 rather than having a big list like 73 of them. So you can see here, there's quite a few to go through, like your phone. You might want to have that on there. I'm not touching Xbox Live or any Xbox stuff. I'm leaving that alone because a lot of people will need that. So there is some other stuff on here which you can remove. So just go through here and read what they are and remove which ones you want, like weather, I don't need, and a bunch of other stuff on here like voice recorder. And so you'll be able to see some of these I'm doing. Number 59 here. We'll remove that from the system and we'll do a bunch of other ones as well. So you can use your own common sense here to go through and remove what you think you don't need. But be very careful on what you do remove. For instance, Xbox can break any sort of OS if you start removing it. I prefer to just leave that on there because some people do need the Windows Store and they do want Xbox. But again, you can get these extreme builds where they remove all of that. And again, you can end up with a lot of error messages popping up on the screen if you start removing too much stuff. So just be a little bit careful with what you do remove from your particular ISO when you build it. So I'm just going to keep working my way through here and taking a look at which ones we want to remove. Like Solitaire, I don't really need that on the system. I can remove those, and we've got 51 there that I've just removed. So you could just work your way through. And basically, once you've selected all of your stuff that you don't need, you can then go back to the main menu and move on to the next screen. So you can see here, I'm going up really slowly, and you should be able to see the ones that I've removed, like Windows tips and things like that. Sticky notes I've removed, snipping tool, and also Power Automate, people, and a lot of other stuff there, like movie and TV. You can use VLC for some of that stuff, and I've just removed a lot of that. So let me go through here, and you'll be able to see the whole list here. I'm going through slowly. Get help, feedback, family, and also Clipchamp. All that stuff is going to be removed from here. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our removal process in a second. So let's go ahead and push 32 here and just finish off these last couple. I'm going to just do this number 73 here as well and remove that, which is your phone. So I'm going to do that, and we can move on back to the main menu once we've done all of these. So that's now done. So what I'm going to do next is we're probably going to go back now. I've left the Xbox, like I've said. I'm going to push X to go back to the main menu and see what else we can remove from our build. So let's go ahead and do the next selection, and that is to basically go back, and we can now start to remove. So number 2 will start to remove these Windows components that we've already selected, and we've done quite a few. So it's going to now start to remove all of our choices that we've chose to be removed from our build. So I'm going to start that off and let that do its thing. Now that might take a bit of time, so be patient. And once that's done, you will be able to create a ISO from here as well if you want to. So we'll just let that go ahead and start to remove some of these. I'll show you how it removes them, and then you can see basically what happens. You should see some stuff coming up on the screen like this, where it's starting to remove all of our selections that we've done. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll quickly skip through this, and that's now done. And we can now press the X key to go back to our menu. So let's go ahead and do that. And we have now completed our removal of our components. We can go back again by typing X. And from here, you can now go into the next selection here, which is number 6, apply. So go into number 6. And we can now go into the apply section, and here we can see apply and save changes to our source image, and that's what we need to do. But we also need to clean up the source image using our DISM cleanup first. So let's go ahead and do that, and we've cleaned it up first. Push enter on the keyboard to go back, and now we can apply those changes by doing number 2. So number 1 and then number 2. So let's go number 2 next. And this will apply and save changes to our source image after we've done all that. It's going to say, do you want to clean up the source image folder? I'm going to say Y for yes here and let that do its thing. And that's going to clean up all of the stuff that we don't need anymore. And it will start to do that and apply changes and unmount our install.wim file, which is what we've just edited. So now we've done that. That does take a bit of time, so be patient and let it do its thing. And once you've done that, you're pretty much done. You can create your ISO file inside this MSMG toolkit if you want to. And if you want to do some more tweaking, you can do as well. It depends on how far you want to take this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into NT Lite and do a couple of more little adjustments, and then we can rebuild our ISO. But again, you don't need to do that part. You can go to number 7 now and go to target. Select your ISO that you want to build, and it will basically create an ISO for you. I'm going to skip that part and push X for quit, because we're going to open up that folder inside NT Lite. So let's go ahead and download that. So there it is right there. We haven't created the ISO yet, but if you did, your ISO will be in the ISO folder. But we're going to leave that part out for this bit here. And what we're going to do here is go into our DVD, and there is all of the stuff still there. So that is our image. So what we're going to do here now is open up NT Lite here and go to the download section and download the 64-bit version of this. It's free to use. There is a paid premium version which will allow you to do a lot more with this. So we're just using the free version here, and we're going to open this up and agree to their terms and conditions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mount that image that we've just been working on here. So let's open up NT Lite here, and there we go. And let's just quickly do the free license here for non-commercial use. Click OK and accept those terms. And now we've got our NT Lite open here. So what we can do is go up to add image directory right there. So let's go ahead and add our image directory. That's our DVD folder inside our toolkit. So select that, and that should now give us the option to mount our Windows 11 Pro. So I've done that, clicked on it, and we've now mounted it. And now you can start making some more changes. You can add in registry tweaks here if you want to, and all that sort of good stuff. It depends on how far you want to go delving into this. But there is quite a bit you can do with NT Lite. You can even create your own ISO right from scratch with NT Lite as well. You don't have to use MG Toolkit if you don't want to, and you could just use this tool. They're both good in their own right, but you can use it in conjunction with it as well, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to go to components here, and you can see 57-bit linear addressing. I'm going to remove that right there, and we're also going to remove the virtualization, application virtualization there. We don't need any of that stuff on here. So I can remove that one right there just by removing the check mark. Now, if you do need any of this stuff, then obviously don't remove it, because guess what's going to happen? It's not going to work. So use a bit of common sense when it comes to stuff you want to remove and stuff you need and stuff you don't need. So that's what we've got here. So let's go ahead and user experience virtualization. We're going to remove that as well, which is your UE-V. I'm going to remove that. And then you can move on to the next selection, which is your remoting and privacy. So let's go into the remoting and privacy selection here, and we can start to take a look inside there. So I'm going to close off that one and go into there. And there's a few things inside here that you can mess around with as well. So let's go ahead and remove this one here. Branch cache client, we can remove that. And we can also remove the file server resource manager. We can remove that as well. So just be careful on what you're removing. If you don't know what they are, then just leave them well alone. You don't need to mess around. So we're going to get rid of peer networking inside here as well. And you've got also remote desktop server there. There's a bunch of other stuff that you can remove as well if you wanted to. But just read up about them and make sure they're not going to break your system if you remove them. So, okay, so let's move on and go to the next phase. And we can now go into, let's see here. We've got some other areas we can go into. I don't need to go too crazy here because I've already used MG Toolkit. So inside multimedia here, there is some stuff inside here that you can remove and change. There's also a wallpaper that you can put your own wallpaper on here if you wanted to, and change that inside here. There's quite a few areas that you can mess around with inside here, but this is for another video to go fully in depth in here. I think I've made videos on that before some time ago, but if you want to see an updated refresh video on that, then let me know in the comments section below. And there's also an app section up here. If you wanted to use this to remove the apps, you can do, but we've already taken care of the apps in our other program, but they're listed right here if you wanted to go through here, and that's where you can get all your Cortana and stuff like that. Now, also inside the settings area here, let's go to settings, and we can look in system here, and you'll see there's some little toggle switches which you can toggle on and off to make changes, like Microsoft account and things like remote desktop and other things like that. You can go through here and tweak this to the way you like it and make changes. Now, we've already removed OneDrive and things like that, so we don't need to worry about any of that sort of stuff. But there might be some things in here where you want to make changes and have it the way you want it during the installation part. And we've already taken care of a lot of this stuff. But you can see here, local user account here. You can see we can basically deal with that right here as well. And I'll just quickly show you how to do this, but I'm going to be using an answer file to basically deal with a lot of this stuff. But if you wanted to go through here and have it dealt with here, you can do, and toggle some of these on to enable and disable some of these features. And I'll quickly just show you a couple here, like setup requirement for RAM or TPM and secure boot. You can disable these. But first off, what you need to do is you need to enable this feature up the top here, and once you've done that, you'll be able to disable these, so they're not going to ask for RAM or TPM, secure boot, or any of that stuff. So if you've got unsupported hardware, you can use this method to bypass as well, and it will be permanent and you won't have to worry about that again. I'm not going to spend too much time in NT Lite because we've done a lot of work already. So what I'm going to do next is go to the apply area here, and we can now remove non-essential additions, which is your WinPE version recovery area here. We can use the high compression as well if we needed to have it high compression ESD instead of having the editable Win version. We can change that right here. And then all we need to do once we've made our selection is basically create our ISO. So you can go through here and change some of the stuff that you couldn't do in the other script. And once you're happy with what you've got, you can then build your ISO. Okay, so let's quickly create this ISO, and I'll show you basically what it looks like once we install it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the high compression here, and we're also going to remove the WinPE version of it to make it smaller, and we can go ahead and then create our ISO. So let's put the check mark in create ISO, and it will be called NT Lite. That's fine, and it's going to use the DVD folder for our image, and we're going to click OK here, and this will create our ISO. And it will take a bit of time, so be patient. And once that's built, you'll be able to install it. So hit the progress button here, and it will start this process off. Okay, so let's go ahead and add in our answer file. So I'm going to use AnyBurn here and choose my ISO, which is NT Lite. And we're going to go next. And you can already see there's put an auto unattended.xml file in here. There's not much inside here apart from the bypass, the telemetry and things like that. So I'm going to delete this and put in my own one, which will have that and more registry tweaks inside there, which I've already created off camera. Otherwise it would have been too long of a video. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in and click next. And once we've done that, we can now create our ISO. So I'm going to go ahead and create that and put that into our downloads folder here. And then we can create it. And I'll show you basically what it's like once we've booted up and installed it. Now we won't need to worry about putting in a Microsoft account or any of that stuff because we're going to be bypassing all of that with our unattended answer file here. So what I'm going to do is open up a VMware and I'll install this so you can see what it looks like, and basically it'll be super lightweight and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and push enter here and boot up to our ISO, and I'll go ahead and get this installed on the system. Now, because we've got the auto unattended XML file here, it's going to skip a lot of stuff. You might see a couple of prompt boxes popping up. That's because I've put a lot of stuff in here to remove and disable stuff during the installation process as well. If you want to see a video on that, I did make one the other day, but if you want to see a more advanced one on that, then let me know in the comments section. So what we'll do here now, you can see we've only got one installation, which is our Windows 11 Pro. I'll go ahead and install this, and it will get to the account, and because we have that answer file, it's going to create our account for us and skip all of this stuff right here. We don't have to worry about any of this stuff, and it should then take us to our desktop, and I'll show you what it looks like once you get to the desktop. Now, of course, you can make more tweaks here and make this having a dark theme if you want to in NT Lite and stuff like that if you wanted to, but I can run a quick script on there as well to change all of that with a batch file if I wanted to, or I can do it during the NT Lite here and create my own wallpaper if I wanted to. You can see the applications have all been removed here. There's no applications in there. There might be one or two that I might have missed, but it's pretty a clean installation, as you can see here. And let me open this up right here. And when you go inside here, there's also going to be some privacy settings, because I've got that answer file and I've got that all set up to add all these in when we're installing. You'll probably notice that a lot of this stuff has been removed and disabled by default, as you can see here. You won't have to go through and do any of this because it's already been taken care of for you by putting that answer file in there, and it's just take care of all this, so you don't have to go through and just painstakingly go through here and having to disable a lot of this stuff yourself manually. Now, of course, I could have done this after the fact with a script if I wanted to if I wanted to go down that route, but there's tons of different ways to go about doing this. But you can see here it's pretty lightweight. And let me just quickly enable a dark theme here so I can show you what it looks like with some sort of dark theme. And then we can take a look. Now, I didn't remove the Microsoft Store because some people do use the Microsoft Store. You might want to play a game inside there. And if you've removed it, you're not going to be able to play certain games. And Xbox is still on here as well. I've not touched any of that stuff either. Copilot and all that sort of stuff has been removed. You can see it's all gone. There's none of that here. You can make some final adjustments here. I can also set this up if I wanted to, so I don't have to do this manually. Later on down the line, I can set that up inside the actual program, or even do that with a script if I wanted to. I'll quickly do that on a script now. There you go. It's now adjusted, and I'll quickly show you what it looks like with the task manager here, and we can have a look at the system resources for this particular build. So let me go ahead and right click on the taskbar here and open up our task manager and go to our performance area and take a look at our CPU and processes here. You can see the memory is pretty low, and we also have our CPU here. Processes are 71, which isn't too bad. No utilization, pretty decent. Anyway, I think that's going to be about it. That's basically how you can create your own Windows 11 custom ISO using MSMG Toolkit, and also NT Lite is a really easy way of creating a super lightweight version of Windows 11. And it should be pretty fast, and you should have all of your settings disabled. I also used the AnyBurn and also used my own auto unattended XML file to answer and change all of those settings, so I don't have to go through any of that. So it's pretty super lightweight version of Windows 11. Let me know what you think in the comments section below and what you want to see next. I'll be happy to make those videos for you. Anyway, with that said, I think that's going to be about it. Just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members who join my YouTube members. I really do appreciate the support, and I shall catch you in the next video, or I'll catch you on the Discord server for a chat. Bye for now.